Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing on this fine Monday?
Doing great, Max. How about yourself?
I'm doing great myself. It's been a really good day. It was a solid weekend, and we got some NBA trade deadline to recap now.
If you guys saw the episode last week, obviously we saw two insane trades between the Luka Doncic AD trade, and now AD's might miss a month, up to a month with an adductor strain, so not a good start for the Mavs on this side.
No.
And then we saw the De'Aaron Fox trade, where I still don't understand the Spurs team. I took them after the trade at about 4-1 to make the playoffs. And then it's the same kind of thing. They don't know how to play in the second half. So that's been weird. The Kings obviously get Levine. We're going to talk about them here in a minute. And now we saw some, not as much fireworks on the days before and the trade deadline. But we did see some big trades, and we're here to break down everything. That we'll probably end it off, as we usually do, talking about our Denver Nuggets.
Let's hop right into it, Caden.
The first, because we're not going to mention these little trades or anything like that. We're going to mention the ones that actually matter.
Yeah.
Jonas Valanciunas, who signed a 3-year deal with the Wizards last offseason, got traded to the Kings to become a big man behind Sabonis for City Sissoko, who they got in the De'Aaron Fox trade, and 2 second-round picks. So they get another big in Jonas Valanciunas, who's a player that I wanted the Nuggets to look at. I thought he would be a great backup behind Jokic, but it'd be hard for the Wizards to want to take Dario, Zeke, and some seconds for him.
True, Caden. And this is I think a trade that benefits both teams. The Wizards, you're moving on from a guy to create more space and playing time for your up-and-coming players who you feel, it's time for them to get going and get established. And you're also getting a couple of picks back, which, we've talked about picks, they're picks. But, like you said, for the Kings, they're filling a position of need. They're getting better. I just really like this trade for both sides, Caden.
Yeah, good for the Wizards. You're getting stuff because, obviously you're in a big rebuild mode.
Yeah.
You're the worst team in the NBA by far this year. So get some more future assets. And, you still want to just be losing as many games as possible. Try to get Cooper Flag. It's that simple.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. It's dish what you can. Let whoever you think might be around in the future to play out and figure that out and start fresh.
Yeah, and now we look at a mediocre team in the West because they have one of the worst big threes of all time when they play together. The Phoenix Suns. We didn't see a Bradley Beal trade. We didn't see a Kevin Durant trade. But they did finally get off of Yusuf Nurkic, who has been so bad for them this year. They even benched him for Mason Plumlee at one point. Rough. They traded him to the Hornets. They got Cody Martin, Velise Mijicic, who's people like him. I don't think he's that good at basketball. And a second-round pick they trade Eastern, and they had to give the Hornets a 2026. It's an unprotected first-round pick. So they had to give up a first-round pick to even get off of Nurkic.
Yeah.
But I think it's something you kind of have to do.
It is, Caden. And I think, like I said, I don't like picks that much. I'll keep saying it. I'm fine with them kind of moving off just to get rid of that contract.
Yeah.
Create up that space. And you got a player, it's almost worse to have them in your locker room at that point, who's been, benched, who's not in the starting role. The chemistry's just not there. And they just need a fresh start. I think that's honestly the best thing for Yusuf Nurkic is if, whatever career he does have left, playing time left in the league, hopefully in a few more years for him. He came in just a little bit before
before Jokic.
Before Jokic.
They shipped him out of Denver because they saw something in
Correct, exactly. And, he's been around for a while, but he's kind of bounced around, Caden. We've seen that with him. Sometimes he plays good. We've seen him,
he can get you like a random 2018 game.
Correct, exactly.
And then he just looks awful the next time.
Inconsistent. And for his sake, I hope that he's able to figure it out. I hope, I don't know if it's here or where it'll end up being. I doubt he's there long term, Caden, in all actuality. But, I just wish best for him.
Yeah, now next trade, this one isn't also not one of these bigger ones, but it's good for the Clippers that they're trying to, be competitive in the West. They get Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Hawks. They get rid of one of the worst contracts in basketball, and Terrence Mann, who's just not a good basketball player, and he's making about $20 a year.
So,
they got rid of
one okay season and got so much.
They got rid of Nuggets legend Bones Highland and 3 second-round picks so they could bring in Bogdan. And then Bones Highland got released from the Hawks.
Yeah, Bones Highland was a bad Nuggets pick. We wanted Bones to be good. I think a lot of people saw he's got so much potential, Caden, but the mentality, his chemistry with the teammates, his selfishness ultimately is what's going to be costing him no matter where he goes.
Yeah, he has shown flashes. We saw it with the Nuggets.
Yeah.
We've seen it before. He's just, very like selfish, self-centered player where he's like, I should be getting the ball. I'm going to be outspoken. It's like on the Nuggets and on the Clippers, like these players are better than you. They
You're
will
talking
be
about
playing more.
potential
Than
Hall of Famers.
and it's like
in
they
front
should
of
be
you.
playing over you. Like you need to try to realize, like you're not a bad basketball player by any means, but
Oh.
you're not up to
True.
this sort of caliber.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know if someone's really bottomed out yet, but yeah, I could see some teammates signing him, using him as depth piece. But yeah, I mean, the Clippers get Bogdan, which is good. I mean, he's having a down year. We don't know if it's made just because the Hawks have been weird this year, or maybe age is finally catching up to him. But what we've seen is he can shoot the threes pretty well. He can get you some buckets. So he's going to be, I think, a good add for the Clippers to have come off the bench and help put up some more points for that Clippers team.
Most definitely, Caden. And like you said, for the Clippers, I mean, you're moving off of someone you don't want in your locker room. You're getting some assets back. You have to give up some picks. Overall, I think it's a pretty all right trade for them.
Yeah. Next one we're doing talk about, I think it's an interesting trade. I don't know exactly why the Bucks did this. This is them acquiring Kyle Kuzma from the Wizards. So it's a 4-team deal. The Bucks got Kyle Kuzma, Jericho Sims, a 2025 second-round pick, and a 2026 second-round pick. The Wizards got Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, and a 2028 first-round pick swap with the Bucks. The Knicks got DeLon Wright from the Bucks, draft rights to Hugo Besson from the Bucks, and cash considerations they're just kind of thrown in there. And then the Spurs get Patrick Baldwin from the Wizards and cash considerations as well. So really, it's the Wizards get Chris Middleton and A.J. Johnson for Kyle Kuzma.
Excuse me, but this one was interesting, Caden, because Chris Middleton's been with the Bucks for so long. He was
helped them win that championship. Yeah,
he was hitting it, but we can kind of see the writing on the wall. He's kind of been decreasing, hasn't been able to consistently hit a shot, and I think that's kind of the frustration with the Bucks, right? And I think when you're looking at it, you're looking at getting a younger player, someone who's gonna be playing the same role. Roughly.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
And it's just, I think it's almost like, I don't want to say the AD Luka, but it's like you're getting younger. So that's better in a sense.
In a way, I mean, yes, obviously we saw that how amazing Chris Middleton looked in the playoffs last year. And then he started the year injured, and since he's come back, like you're saying, he's not been able to hit his shot. He's been missing a lot. He's bad efficiency when he's on the court. So, I mean, it seems like maybe it was time to get off of Middleton. Giannis was heartbroken when that happened.
Of course he is, man. I mean, that was
his
boy,
mate.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you bring in Kuz, he's not a bad he's Kuz. Nothing bad. I mean, maybe in this role when he's not like the leading man on the team, he can lean back more into that defensive role we've seen him in the past.
Yeah.
Where he can be a pretty good wing defender and then give you hopefully about 15 points tonight where the Bucks will gladly take that if they can get that out of Kuzma. That'll help them. I mean, obviously Giannis and Dame. You had that as a number 3. That does help this team, I think, a good bit.
It does, Caden. It's just a fresher, mentally set person. And I think Kuz is ready to get on a team that's going to be able to push for, winning I would say winning a championship potentially. You have Giannis.
Yeah, you have Giannis. You
could always be a championship contender. But especially in the East that's weak, you can, make a run. And I bet he'll be rejuvenated and really excited just to get out of Washington.
That is very true. He's definitely going to feel a little burst of energy getting out of, like we said, the worst team in the NBA.
For sure.
Like we mentioned last week, after the Luke AD trade, the Lakers needed a big. So they went out and tried. This trade ended up getting rescinded.
This is going to be a great trade for the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers get Mark Williams, who obviously has his health concerns. He's only played about 80 games in 3 career years in the NBA. They gave up their first-round pick from this year's draft, Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap, just for Mark Williams to fail his physical, and now Connect and Reddish are back on the Lakers.
This is the worst-case scenario if you're the Lakers, Caden, because that sucks. I mean, now, imagine having to show up to work knowing that your boss was just trying to get rid of you the day before.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be
He got rid of you just for it to not work.
Yeah, that's probably even worse. I mean, that whole mental charades, I don't even know how a rookie is feeling about that, Caden. That situation sucks. And I wouldn't wish that on any team because that is literally the worst thing that could happen in any trade.
Yeah, I mean, I see this trade. I'm like, I like this for Dalton Connect. I think he's going to get an extended run, especially with like the Brandon Miller injury out for the season. So in our fantasy basketball league, I went out. I spent a good bit of my fab to pick up Don't Connect just for the next day, the trading gear said. I'm like, well, no, I just wasted all that for nothing. I got to drop Connect because, especially now with Luke on the team, his role, he's been averaging about 18 to 20 minutes a game, that's going to be even more reduced now. So
correct.
It's weird for him because he's going to go get this expander, or go play 30 minutes a night, try to see what he could really do in the league. Now he's just being relegated to more bottom of the bench guy. So who really knows? The Lakers desperately needed that center. And I mean, going out to Mark Williams was interesting. Like, yes, he's a good center, and you do like what he can bring defensive. I mean, not defense. I mean, he's not a bad defender by any means, but I think he's a good. I mean, he's a pretty good offensive center. It's just he's obviously had the injury concerns. We've seen him miss a lot of time in his career, just from him to fail his physical, and now it's like none of it happened.
Yeah, it's horrible, Caden. Horrible, horrible, horrible.
A big trade here that happened. We finally saw the Jimmy Butler trade. We've been talking about it. We've been going through this whole saga on this pod for about a month or so now, and it finally gets done.
Yes, it does.
Jimmy Butler, 2 second-round picks and cash considerations are going to the Golden State Warriors, and Jimmy also signed a two-year, $102 million extension. The Heat get Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, Davion Mitchell, and a 2025 protected first-round pick from the Warriors. The Jazz get Josh Richardson, KJ Martin, 2021 second-round pick from the Pistons, 2031 second-round pick from the Heat. Cash considerations. The Pistons get Lindy Waters, Dennis Schroeder, who also after this trade happened got traded again. Dennis Schroeder's just getting passed around this year. It's crazy.
Oh, he got that was horrible.
A 2031 second-round pick. And then the Raptors get PJ Tucker, a 2026 second-round pick, and cash considerations. So a big five-team deal that lands the Warriors, Jimmy Butler. He gets the extension he's looking for. And now when you look at it, Jimmy's contract ends after this year, then the 2 more seasons. That's exactly when Curry's contract ends. That's exactly when Draymond's contract ends. So they're trying to go on this little one last run.
They are. I mean, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're gearing up. They said, this is our window. We got 2 years with these guys. Curry at the end of his prime. Yep. Jimmy Butler north of his prime.
But still a very good
basketball player. And I think it's a smart decision. Yep. If you want to be competitive, you got to take the shot. You got to take the risk. When you have Stephen Curry, you need to be able to get him a running mate. You need to be able to get something going. Because that's what he needs, ultimately. He needs someone else that could be a threat on offense, that's a good defender, going to be a bigger-sized guy, right, on that court. And I think it's a good trade for the Warriors.
Yeah, I think, the Warriors needed to do something. There was talks that they were in on Kevin Durant, which would have been interesting to see them team back up. That would have been scary. But yeah, you get Jimmy Butler, who's still, yes, a very good basketball player. It seems like you might look at his numbers from this year and be like, it's Jimmy's bad. But then you look at the games, it seemed like he just didn't want to play him. He didn't care.
Yeah, he was.
There was games where he was only taking like 7 shots a night. It's like, that's not Jimmy Butler at all. But then you look at the Heat, like, you knew this relationship was severed. You knew you had to trade him. All 29 other teams knew you had to trade him. So to be able to get Wiggins, who's still a good NBA player, you get a first-round pick while it's protected. The Warriors shouldn't be a lottery team this year with this trade. So you get a first-round pick, and you get Wiggins out of it. So for how everyone knew you had to trade him, to still be able to get a very quality NBA player and a first-round pick, I think it's good by the Heat.
It was fantastic by the Heat, Kane. Like you said, both parties got what they wanted. Jimmy Butler's happy. I think the Heat are probably happy, and so are the Warriors.
Yeah, next trade we do want to talk about, it's kind of surprising. It's been talked about for about, I guess, a year and a half now that the Pelicans don't want to pay Brandon Ingram. Oh, yeah. So they're like, it seems like, are they going to trade him, or are we going to find a suitor? But no, he gets traded to the Toronto Raptors. He's going to Canada for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick. So
Brucey B.
Interesting trade. And also, I mean, what you've seen with Nasai Majari, the GM for the Raptors, he will buy low on some of these better NBA players. Like, he's been known since he's got there. He's going to buy low, and it doesn't always work, but we've seen it work before. Like Kawhi Leonard back in 2019. Obviously, they're different calibers of players, but Brandon Ingram is still a very good NBA player.
He is, Caden. I mean, he's still a younger guy, too. You think, maybe you got coaches, you got players that can help elevate his level of performance, elevate his talent, put some pieces around him. I mean, you're trying to build core. That's what all these teams are trying to do. They're trying to get better at the deadline, or they're trying to get worse and set themselves up for the future. Either way, I think it's a solid pickup for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like they're trying to build a core here. I mean,
Yeah.
you already have Scotty Barnes locked up. You gave him his max extension. You signed Emmanuel quickly to that big extension. You have RJ Barrett still there from his Knicks extension. Like, who really cares about RJ Barrett? He's nothing special. And then you bring in Brandon Ingram, who can put up 20, 25 points a night when he's healthy. So that's a pretty little good trio there when you have Bi, Scotty, who's a very good basketball player, and Emmanuel quickly is showing flashes here and there. So you can try building on that. You're gonna have a lottery pick this year. Try to find someone good who could help build this system, and they could be. I mean, who knows exactly how good this core could be together? We're gonna have to see them on the court, but they're an intriguing team now going into the future.
Yes, they are, Caden. And as always with these NBA trades, it's going to be a little bit before we see who wins them. But I'm going to be excited to see how this, rest of the season plays out with all these different. I mean, it's one of the most active trade deadlines in recent memory. It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. The last one we want to talk about, it's not a big trade, but it's just kind of weird that I don't know what's going on there. So I do want to mention it. It's the Wizards. The Wizards and Grizzlies made a trade. Kings just kind of got thrown in there. But the Grizzlies gave up Marcus Smart to the Wizards. The Wizards also got Colby Jones from the Kings and Alex Len from the Kings, and a 2025 first-round pick from the Grizzlies. Just so the Grizzlies could get 2 second-round picks, Marvin Bagley and Johnny Davis. Kings get Jake LaRavia. The Grizzlies were so done with Marcus Smart after about a year and a half. They're like, yeah, we'll give him to the Wizards, and we'll throw in a first-round pick just so you can take him.
Yeah, I mean, again, Caden, it's almost like this character locker room thing where some people just aren't fit for your team. And if that's not the kind of person you want in your culture, they're not happy in the situation, why keep them around? It's almost better. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, it's weird for the Grizzlies as you gave up a first-round pick to acquire Marcus Smart from the Celtics. And a year and a half later, I mean, obviously he's been injured and he lost his playing time. I mean, we talked about him maybe a month ago. Our boy Jalen Wells, second-round rookie, he's been a dog. He's taken Marcus Smart's minutes.
He has.
That now you don't really have a spot. I mean, they have a bunch. They're kind of like, I'd say, like the Pacers of the West. Like, they just have kind of like a plentiful of talent on the roster. Like, obviously, look at the Pacers. It was kind of surprised they didn't do like a consolidation trade to maybe trade some of their young guys off the roster. You thought maybe that could happen with their Grizzlies. Like, Santi Aldama's having a really good year. You thought maybe you could sell high on him or something like that. But no, you trade Marcus Smart and a first-round pick. It's just a little interesting.
Very interesting, Caden. Very weird. That's my thoughts on it.
Last trade, because I did forget about this. This was actually a big trade. It helps. I mean, right now, the number one seed in the West, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they get who's been one of the best bench players in the NBA this year in DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks for Karis LeVert, George Niang, 3 second-round picks and 2 pick swaps. I think this is a great move by the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It is, Caden. Like you said, that East is open. This Cavaliers team's pretty awesome. They've been hot. They've had stretches where they've been on a big win streak.
Oh, yeah.
They could make noise. They got the pieces, and this is just them getting better, getting more bench help, getting depth, and that's what you need to make a big run.
Oh, yeah, because, you've seen, I mean, DeAndre Hunter, he's always had the injury concerns. He's missed some games this year, but when he's been playing, he's one of the frontrunners for 6th man of the year this year. He's been putting up great points off the bench. He'll have a couple 20-point games here or there. And now you look at this Cavs team where they're already one of these best offenses in the league. They're able to put up insane stats. And now you have DeAndre Hunter. You can keep him on the bench if you want. You can also slide him into that starting rotation if you want to move Dean Wade to the bench. Where, I mean, he's been good too since he's come back from injury. But now you have more options. You have just more good NBA players. And, I mean, for the Hawks, it was kind of interesting. Like, you've had him now for a while. It's like, do you sell high on him here? Or, like, because we've never seen DeAndre Hunter be this good. It's like, is this maybe DeAndre Hunter's peak and we should sell him now? Or is he just going to continue to grow? We're not going to be sure, obviously, yet. But they thought this is the right time to sell off DeAndre Hunter. Yep. You get, I guess, Karis LeVert, whatever. George Niang's not a bad player. You get, 3 seconds. Like, he's not a first-round worthy player, but you get 3 seconds and a couple swaps. So those could turn into something. I just think it's a great move by the Cavs, who are already at the top of these. They're fighting the Boston Celtics. They're thinking, like, what? Like, they're not, obviously there's other teams in the East they need to worry about, like the Bucks. But when
Philly.
you're looking at it, you're like, who's the team to beat in the East? It's the Celtics. How can we
Most definitely
become better to beat the Celtics? Adding a player like DeAndre Hunter to your roster gives them a much better chance.
Yes, it does, Caden. Crazy deadline, like I said earlier. So much interesting things to see. I'm super excited for the second half of this NBA season because we really don't know what's going to go down.
We're
going to have to play it by
about
ear.
A week away from the trade deadline. Not the trade deadline, the All-Star break.
All-Star break, correct. And we're just going to have to play it by ear, see what happens. But one team that has been on a little bit of a roll lately, finally, Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. I mean, since they'd won the last 2 games, albeit very ugly last week. Since then, they've won all 4 games they've played, beat the Pelicans twice, as they should, put up 144 on the Pelicans in the second game, which is great. Held the the Magic to only 90 points. So we're finally seeing some defense. Then just the other night against the Suns, 122-105. They've won all these games looking great. We've had 3 straight because Porter missed the game against the Suns. But in the 3 games before, the 2 Pelicans against the Magic, 39 points, 35 points, 33 points. 3 straight 30-point games from our boy MPJ.
Bang! Caden, this is what this Nuggets team has needed. They need Michael Porter Jr. They need Christian Brown. They need Jamal Murray to step up and pull their weight. When they do, this is the championship team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've done it before, but it's the consistency. It's the lack of defense that we've been missing. Start playing some defense. Sit down in that chair. Buckle up. Let's play Nuggets basketball, physical. Make some shots. Light them up. Knock them down. It's going to be it's going to be a recipe for successful basketball.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, we talked about it last week how, I mean, because Russ is out and P-Watt, we're seeing it a lot, like Christian Brown back in the starting lineup. We talked about it last week, and he still hasn't slowed down. He's looking incredible. He's getting rebounds, assists, putting up 15-plus points tonight, and he's doing that as your number 4 option. You obviously have Jokic, Porter, Jamal. Christian Brown's your number 4 right now, getting you 15 to 25 points a night. Aaron Gordon, while he hasn't been scoring great, his assist numbers have been crazy. He had a 12-assist game the other night. Strother's been playing good. We're seeing more extended run for some of the younger guys, and it's good to see because, I mean, some of them might be able to boss into something that could help riding on this bench unit going forward throughout the rest of the season.
Most definitely, Caden. It's super exciting because this is what we've been waiting for. Like I said, I just hope that the All-Star break doesn't teeter this momentum.
Oh, yeah.
I think as long as the Nuggets, stay focused, stay locked in, they're going to get a break during the All-Star break, right? Take some time to rest, let the body recover, do the right things, make the right choices. And as we gear up for this last stretch of the season, they should be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, because we're getting eerily close
to
playoff time. And now that there's no more football, we got a lot of basketball to consume.
Yes, we do.
We're going to keep talking about this. Towards the end of this month, we're going to, just like last year, when we talk about some conference tournaments as we get into March Madness.
Woo!
So there's going to be a lot of good basketball content coming your guys' way.
It's going to be super exciting. We're looking forward to the basketball season to wrap up now that football's done. And we thank you guys for continuing to be with us. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate your support, and we'll see you all next time.